Hi friends, it's Fluffy Toad. This is a Fortified Afflicted Raging Week. The main affix that we're going to be dealing with is Afflicted. Here are my talents, and the main one you should focus on is having Decurse. Having Decurse as a mouse over is super helpful. Here's my character, you can view my armory in the description. With all that out of the way, let's get on to the key. So right here, we're about to do a super big pull. So the two mobs that you kind of want to focus is the Defenders or the Apparatus. Right here, the pull is fully gathered. I should have used my Living Bomb and weapon, but I didn't. I waited a couple of seconds, so I probably could have gotten more Living Bombs out of this. Something I'd like to mention is that I didn't use Phoenix Flames when I was entering my combustion. This means I lost a couple of stacks of my 4-piece bonus. Right here, my Living Bomb is about to come off cooldown, but I shifting powers before that. I should have waited until Living Bomb was completely off cooldown and then shifting powers. But it didn't really matter because I decided not to use Living Bomb anyways, which is pretty bad. I also used my mirror images pretty late. I should have used it right when the pool was fully gathered. This would have reduced the amount of damage I took from the apparatus beam. Make sure that you're proactive in removing afflicteds. It's very easy to forget that they're around when you're doing such a big pack.
One afflicted spawned. Clear.
So if you go left side in this dungeon, if you have an engineer, you can pick up a cheat death. Unfortunately, our group does not have an engineer. However, we pick up this pack because we need it for percent.
Two afflicted spawned. Cleared.
If you look, my mirror images is about to be up, and so is my living bomb. If I've waited just a few more seconds, I could have used my mirror images and living bomb and got the CDR from my shifting power. A mistake that I made here is I used my meteor when I was outside of combustion. You want to make sure that you're always using your meteor when you're inside of combustion, or have the meteor land when you're inside of combustion.
Clear.
I'm casting Pyroblast into SKB. I should have used my Living Bomb the moment I sent out my Pyroblast. This way it could have done a little bit more damage. With the pulls that we've been doing with this tank, I should have expected a double pull. I used my Living Bomb way too early, so I couldn't have it on all of the ads. I could have had another Living Bomb up easily with the amount of targets that it would have been hitting. If I had waited, I could have used it in conjunction with my SKB.
Two afflicted spawned. Clear. Two afflicted spawned. Clear. One afflicted spawned. Cleared.
Since it's a Fortified week, I'm not really afraid of any of the bosses, but this boss's periodic damage can kill me. So when we enter that phase, I should be sure to use something to protect myself. This also helps put less stress on our healer, and save mana for later. On this boss, I use my double lust, but I forget to use my potion. This means that I lost out on a bunch of damage. So whenever you're using your double lust, you should remember to use your potion, if you can.
2 afflicted stunned. Clear.
Right here is the periodic damage. I don't really have to worry about it because the evoker gave us all a shield, and 420k is more than enough to protect us.
Two afflicted stunned. Clear.
So I'm going to hold on to combustion for a couple of seconds. The reason I'm doing this is because I know my SKB is about to be back up, and I don't want to have to hard cast Pyroblast in my combustion.
One afflicted stunned. Clear.
Whenever you get power overload, you should alter time and then blink away. You can dwarf if you're a dwarf early, and then you can just alter time back. The faster you can get rid of that debuff, the safer you'll be.
Warping time. Warping time.
I gave my entire team mass barrier. That way when the static surge happens, I don't have to worry about any one of my members dying.
Stunned.
It's also pretty helpful for protecting myself. The reason I don't use mirror images here is because I kind of want to use it for the later one. And just in case I get power overload.
Two afflicted stunned. Clear.
Even though the boss is about to die, I still use combustion on cooldown.
Two afflicted stunned. Clear.
Here, the tank is about to do another big pull. Knowing this, we're going to assist him in grouping the mobs. We see that he uses the Silent Sigil, and then his second Silent Sigil. As you can see, I interrupt one of them, and then I use my DB. I could have just used my DD instead to save my interrupt for later. I'm not too worried about my damage because I know I'm a supporting character in the Warlock's life, so not being the top DPS isn't that big of a deal to me.
Afflicted stunned. Cleared. Two afflicted stunned. Clear.
If you have herbalism, you can pick up this mushroom, and it puts a buff on you for 30 minutes, and it lasts throughout death. It cleanses poison every 15 seconds. This is super handy for when you don't have a poison to spell in your group. When dealing with these frogs, using Ring of Frost is super helpful. Not only does it stop them, but it also applies a slow to them for a couple of seconds. This makes it easier for you to kite. And in my case, almost all of the frogs were on me after this stun. So just keep blinking and use everything you can to stay away from them.
Two afflicted stunned. Cleared. Two afflicted stunned. Cleared.
These shock troopers are another danger mob. You should do everything in your power to prevent them from casting. Elemental Focus increases damage of their instant cast lightning spell. And as you can see, even though we do pull the mini bosses, it's really important to burn those guys down. Right here, I switched to the mini bosses, and that's because I want to cleave my ignites. And I'm not really worried about the shock troopers anymore, because we do have a dragon, so we don't have to worry about enraging, and we have a lot of CC. So on top of that, the shock troopers are very low. So it's not really worth to send your pyro blasts into them. Don't forget to use your Living Bomb when he starts channeling Zephyr's Call. By the time the Living Bomb expires, all of the ads should already be summoned. Of course, I'm not perfect, so I wait until the channel is over. But this is something that I'll start considering moving forward.
One afflicted stunned. Cleared.
For this boss, overpowering Croak hurts a lot, so I want to make sure that I have something available, whether that's an Absorb or one of my defensives. This frog is super easy to deal with. As you can see, there's 2 world markers. What you want to do is run back and forth for every overpowering croak. This makes it easier to keep all the frogs in one place and keep them CC'd. This helps prevent the frog's poison applications. As you can see, we start at diamond and then we go to triangle. You should always use your Ring of Frost close to the world marker. It helps keep them CC'd and slowed, so that when the gulp goes off, you don't have to worry about any of the frogs not being in it. Now the big frog is going to do his jump. When he does this jump, we're all going to go back to diamond, and then after that, it's just rinse and repeat.
One afflicted stunned. Cleared. 2 afflicted spawned. Cleared. Warping time. Two afflicted spawned. Clear. Two afflicted spawned. Clear.
Remember my talents from earlier? Well, there's one talent I want to really point out to you during these dragons. As you can see, Energized Barrier is one of the talents that I'm taking for this run. Every time I put on my shield, it'll remove a snare. The dragon's deep chill is technically a snare, so every time I put on my barrier, it instantly removes it. It's super important to remember using your shield instead of your dwarf. The reason for this is if the dragon dies at a weird time, you might not have your shield available for the next deep chill dragon. So, your dwarf is your secondary option. Mass Barrier also gets rid of this, so this is something to keep in mind.
Warping time. Two afflicted spawned. Cleared. Warping time. Two afflicted spawned. Warping time. Clear. Two afflicted spawned. Clear. Two afflicted spawned. Clear.
After this pack, we're going to be doing some parkour. It's a little difficult, but I can show you how. So when you get to the edge of the wall, you want to run and jump towards the mobs to get onto the rock. And then from there, you just want to keep hugging the wall. You'll naturally just fall off. And that's how you do the parkour skip. This boss is a little weird when it comes to using your defensives. I'm still not 100% confident in the way that I use it, but I'll try to explain what I'm doing. The very first one that I'm going to be using is Alter Time. You always want to alter time when you're at 100% HP. Unluckily for me, I'm not in a voice call with the priest. This means I don't know when he's going to be using his major healing cooldowns. So I kind of just have to guess when to use Alter Time. As you see here, I dropped to half health and then I used my Alter Time. It just happened to work out that time. You should also try to help out your group as much as possible. I use Mass Barrier during this phase because there's a little bit of movement, which might make it difficult for the healer to heal.
2 afflicted spawned. Clear.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right about here, I ice cold. When I reach 100%, I should be using my alter time, but I don't. This is something that I could think about in the future. Once again, I get super low, so I use Greater Invis. I still have alter time up, so once I'm at 100%, I should be using that. The key thing about this fight is if you're at 100% HP, you should use alter time if it's available. Another thing I want to mention is I do have health stones and health pot. If I have alter time available but I'm at low health, I should be using these to regain my health. That's basically everything for this boss, so enjoy the gameplay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
2 afflicted spawned. Clear. 2 afflicted spawned.
5,
Clear.
4,
Two afflicted spawned. Clear. 2 afflicted spawned. Clear.
So right here, the dragon is about to do Deep Chill, and I use Mass Barrier. This is a little weird because the damage has already gone out, and Mass Barrier is a group defensive, but I use it to get rid of my Deep Chill debuff. As you can see, the priest starts casting MD, so I probably could have just hung out.
Warping time. Two afflicted spawn. Clear.
This mini-boss is very scary this week. Inundate does a lot of damage, so one way to avoid this damage is you can outrange it. The range on Inundate is roughly 38 yards. This means you could still cast on the mini-boss while being out of the range of the Inundate. You just have to make sure that you're straddling the edge of your range. If you're ever too scared about your position, it's super easy to outrange as a mage. Just blink away.
Two afflicted spawned. Clear. Two afflicted spawned. Clear. Two afflicted spawned. Clear.
As a range caster, you want to make sure you're always on the very edge so you can bait the infused globules.
One afflicted spawned.
So apparently, if you time your altar time perfectly, right when he does his submerge, you'll be able to be placed back on the ground. I don't know the timing of this, but there's probably a VOD available from one of the higher key pushers. But if you're able to do this perfectly, you're able to skip the gauntlet. I got a super lucky gauntlet, and it was all on the left side, so I was able to quickly breeze through it. Afterwards, I CC one of the mobs. As you can see here, I have one of the mob sheep, but the Holy Priest casts his thing that does the Holy Ring, and it breaks the sheep. While that's happening, I also miss my explosive, so an inundate goes off, and then a second inundate goes off and kills 2 people. The reason why we're CCing the mobs is because they're channeling into the boss. This puts a buff on the boss, which increases the damage his Tempest does. But since it's fortified, it's not that big of a deal. As you can see, we leave one of the Tempests up because we're B-resing our priest and our dragon.
Spawned. Clear. One afflicted spawned. Cleared.
Our priest dies here, but it's not that big of a deal. The reason for this is the boss is basically already dead. Alrighty, that's the key. If you're interested in watching me on Twitch on occasion, I'll put my Twitch in the description. If there's anything you might think I could talk about or improve on, comment down below. And that's it. Thank you.